Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 65, March, No Madness. So guys, in today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, I have a lot of thoughts on March Madness, and why there really hasn't been like any true Cinderella story teams this year. So far, at least at the time of filming. So there might be some upsets by the time this video comes out, and if so, I will be updating that in the description if I do happen to miss anything. But currently, not too much going on that end. Does this spell doom for the future of March Madness?
We're doomed.
I also have like a lot of thoughts on the whole LeBronversation with LeBron James and Pat McAfee from this past week, and how it was very cool and interesting to see the whole human side of LeBron.
And I got my cookies and we good.
And as I always say, I'm definitely I'm not for idolizing or putting celebrities on pedestals, but there is definitely a lot to be learned from everyone, as well as what makes these all-time greats tick. Also in the sports world, I also want to give my take on all the QB moves that have been going on in the whole NFL offseason, thus far at least. And to finish things off in this episode, I want to talk about arguably my all-time favorite TV show, Drake and Josh.
Oh, just take it easy, man.
And how it was really cool to see the two stars reunite for their own podcast episode this past week. So a lot of sports in this episode, as well as some pop culture, and I'm sure I'm going to find a way to infuse some positive life lessons in there as well, as I always do. So without further ado, let's dive deeper now. Rabbit Hole time, let's go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. For you guys who know, I'm asking you to subscribe to the channel so you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on this video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through by Jared Weiss. All links purchased are on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEASS.com. Buy the book. Also, hopefully by the time this video comes out, and if not, like very soon after, I will be having some really cool shirts and merch up on that website as well. So make sure to check that out, and any support at all is always very much appreciated. So, what's up with this whole March, but like minimal madness, or no madness as some of us may see it? Every year, what makes March Madness so great has always been the possibility of that Cinderella story team. That small school that like no one outside the people who actually go there have ever heard of. Some school like out in like North Dakota or Wyoming.
I've never heard of Henderson.
Oh, Henderson's a very small town, Ed.
Well, where is it in relation to Bismarck?
Are you familiar with North Dakota?
And that school makes it to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 even. And that story ignites the underdog within all of us.
This miracle run continues for St. Peter's.
Now I also think most people probably also don't want to see two 12 seeds in the Final Four or the finals, but we all like some excitement that makes each of us think like as underdogs it's possible for us to win in our own stories. However, this NCAA tournament so far seems to be lacking in that area. Now, as I said earlier, if another upset happens by the time this video comes out, because I am filming it a few days in advance, I will be sure to update that in the description. But so far, the tournament has been mostly chalk and blue bloods. There was the buzzer beater in the Maryland game, which was likely to travel, if we're being totally honest.
Bounce to the freshman queen who's driving, floats it. Oh!
And an exciting finish to the Wisconsin BYU game, and a few other solid games here and there. But it's like, is Arkansas really a true underdog? Especially when they're being coached by one of the best coaches of all time, John Calipari. Now I heard some videos that like may explain why this whole phenomena is occurring. And they have one video saying like how great it is, one other saying like this could spell doom for college basketball. So let's watch together and I'm going to react afterwards.
If this continues, it will be the death of college basketball. Because college basketball, listen to what I'm saying, Coach. This has no effect on the allure of college basketball during the season. But March Madness, the madness of March, owns sports for that 4 to 5 week period beginning somewhere in March through the early part of April. Owns sports. And what is the appeal? What is the allure? Anybody has a chance because of Cinderella. That's what gravitates you. So when we have, something, a system in place that says it's compromising that. If there was no NIL, if there was no trade portal, Shay, right? And you have zero, the mid-majors go 0-6 in the second round. Please, we ain't sweating that. But when you're able to point to rules that have been implemented that ultimately shows itself to have inflicted upon the game itself, that's dangerous. Because what you don't want is a situation where nobody has a chance because those players from the mid-majors, like y'all said, you know what, we're going to get some money from Kentucky. We're going to get some money from UConn. We're going to get some money from some other program that we can't get them in. You don't want that to be the reason you have these kind of results.
He's not wrong, and I'm going to share the other clip, which actually talks about the other side, where Colin Cowherd actually views this as a success.
NIL is actually great for college basketball because it keeps some of the better players in college for another year, like a Zach Edey, and then the big brands can cherry pick mid-major teams that nobody watches on television and get better faster. Listen, the rest of us common people don't watch a lot of Missouri Valley basketball. I've never said to my wife, honey, let's go out, bottle of Chianti, little Italian romantic dinner. And she turned to me and went, no, honey, let's stay home and watch Murray State. And eventually, all these upsets, they're ratings killers because you end up with McNeese State in the next game. Stay on the big brands. This is not Copenhagen. People don't ride around on bikes all day, have a second lunch, a siesta. We'll get to it tomorrow. We're busy. We're distracted. You got to give us familiar laundry. Mid-majors, see ya. Big brands, stronger than ever. It's good for college basketball.
So, I think both of them actually make some interesting points, but where I stand is like, I think everyone loves the tournament because everyone has a shot at winning.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Or at the very least, in the first few rounds, everyone wants to see like a Cinderella story make it to the Sweet 16 or to the Elite Eight. I don't think any of us want to just watch and see Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky all survive automatically. And it's like also, I heard a story the other day coming from a player who's reportedly entering the transfer portal while his team is playing in the Sweet 16. So is all this NIL money and the popularity of the transfer portal, is it ruining the innocence and love for the game of college basketball, and is it turning these players pro too fast? And now we're going to see the future of just one seeds dominating the tournament every year. I'm not sure about that, and like I'm not sure if I would like that. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below, though. Next up, I want to talk about the whole LeBronversation, which was the interview between Pat McAfee and LeBron James the other day, or this past week, which was surprisingly hilarious and super insightful as well. Now, one big takeaway that I loved hearing was how once you find your passion, as I'm often saying, that can provide you happiness for the rest of your life. And as LeBron said, you really do have to love it, or else it's going to become work and it's not going to be enjoyable anymore. And you're going to have no desire to keep getting better at it. And that's the reason why he still loves showing up and working on his game even at 40 years old. And another powerful piece of wisdom that LeBron put out was to fall in love with the process and don't always be so worried about the end result. Because if you fall in love with the process, you show up to work every day, you continue grinding in yourself, believing in yourself, the outcome is going to take care of itself. And that's something that he tells his son Bronny often. Now look, is LeBron a perfect person? Hell no.
Oh, hell no.
Far from it, as I've spoken about in the past. I mean, just to acknowledge the flaws of these celebrities and not see them as perfect and flawless. But if we're going to look at everything in totality, there's a ton that we could learn from him and from everyone, because, reminder, nothing is black or white. You have to be able to sift through it all and find the nuance. It was actually a really funny interview too.
The plane that we were getting on, the ladies on the plane were making chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, homemade?
Yeah, so they knew.
Wow, man.
Yeah, so they were making them and bringing them because we had the same ladies all the time. You know, it was a party of 6. You know, they were rotating every time. They knew I loved chocolate chip cookies, so they would get on. I would. Hey, soft with a little crispy edge.
Oh,
perfect.
Yeah, perfect. And I would get on, and they already knew. They'd bring me 2 cookies, and I'll get the gambling with the guys, and I got my cookies, and we good. And then one flight I got on, I looked at them, and they looked at me, and I'm like, oh, that look didn't look familiar. And I asked him, I was like, he was like, no, we're not allowed to, no more cookies on these flights.
What?
When Wade County had to leave and go to Chicago, I looked at the cookie situation. I was like, oh shit, maybe it wasn't that bad.
You lost a lot of cookies.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I mean, D-Wade's millions and my cookies, I was like, okay, maybe I made it out safe. I was like, okay, it wasn't that bad.
Let's talk.
So, a very funny, humanizing story from this massive superstar. It's like even this big-time celebrity who's essentially been in his own bubble for all these years, still likes cookies and can still laugh at Pat Riley taking away his cookies, but then taking away Dwayne Wade's contract. So it's really cool sometimes to see the human side of these big time celebrities. And no, once again, do not idolize them or put them on pedestals, and most likely don't be modeling your lifestyles after theirs. But there's no harm in learning from and listening to them, because we can always learn from their work ethics, what drives them, what makes them tick, and what keeps them going on this path to success in their craft and in their field. So whether you like LeBron, hate him, think he's evil, etc., you can't deny his star power. So whether for better or worse, it's guys like LeBron, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley. These guys tend to have like this crazy magnetic effect and magnetic energy that can't be explained with just like simple science. So it's definitely an interesting phenomenon to look into. And moving on in this interview, LeBron roasted Stephen A. Smith so hard, he called what Stephen A. has been doing a Taylor Swift tour run.
That feels like a moment that had been brewing for a long time.
He's like on a Taylor Swift tour run right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, we're watching it. Yep. We're all seeing it.
Oh yeah,
you're seeing it as well. It's
He literally, it started off with, I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it, but since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
Yeah, went viral. You would be not to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you could address it, it's your ass. Like seriously, it's. And like he completely like missed the whole point. The whole point. Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job, to criticize or to, be in a position where, okay, if a guy's not performing, that is all part of the game. That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players. And I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about it again. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair in his tighty whities on the couch.
I hope at some point you two do get a chance. But you're right.
Dude, relax, bro. Relax. Seriously.
Very funny if you ask me. He was saying how Stephen A. claimed that he didn't want to address it at all and he didn't want to talk about it. But then, of course, as we know, he did, and he went on every show talking about it. And LeBron said the truth, which is that Stephen A. got personal with it, and that was what upset him. It wasn't just criticizing Bronny the player; it was criticizing the dad and criticizing him for putting his son in harm's way, basically. So there's definitely some genuine beef there. And hey, I'm all for it. LeBron has it out for the sports media, and I like it. He's getting back at them for all their unfair criticism of him, especially during his early years when Skip Bayless made a whole career out of criticizing him. And at one point, another really funny point that LeBron said, which made me think at the very least, he is somewhat self-aware, and he's able to laugh at some of these things. And of course, once again, he's had some horrible political takes, and says and does some stupid stuff every so often. But I was like, dang, even LeBron called out some of the rigging in the NBA, with how Cleveland just somehow managed to get the #1 overall pick and keep LeBron in his hometown.
Listen, man. During the ball drop, during the lottery drop, Cleveland got the #1 pick. I just don't think that was. Just,
what are you
coincidence,
saying? Don't you think?
Wemby with the Spurs.
Oh my God! Let's keep LeBron home. You know what? Patrick Ewing to the Knicks. Derrick Rose to the Bulls. I understand the assignment, guys. I mean,
has that happened? So that was pretty funny. Or how he also went along with Pat McAfee when he made the joke about how LeBron only reads the first page of every book.
All right, take the photo, please. Pat, take the photo.
Yeah, we got it. I'll take it from this angle.
So I'm just there's definitely a human side there, which I think is cool to see. Next up, another hot topic from the interview that I want to address is that LeBron isn't wrong about how Giannis Antetokounmpo would absolutely dominate the 70s, as so many of the other players from today would as well. Being a basketball player and athlete myself, I literally saw and was part of the whole transformation of skill and athleticism that has taken off in sports over the past 10-20 years. Because especially being a super undersized kid playing on some top-level AAU teams, I realized I had to work on my game relentlessly, as well as my athleticism and strength, just to fight for every minute to belong in that court. And I also had to be creative, I had to be crafty, I had to be a top-level shooter with crazy handles as well. Because the game was, and always is, evolving. And to be honest, until now, we never saw someone like Giannis with his skill, length, and athleticism, or Wemby, or LeBron, or Kevin Durant. All these guys are on a whole nother level. And I'm a lifelong hooper through and through, so I could see this stuff happening. LeBron said what I've been saying for a while now, which is that evolution is a huge part of basketball. You wouldn't drive a Hummer from the 70s and claim it's better than one from 2025. It's just how you can't compare eras in the NBA because a bench player from today will likely be a star player back then, in most cases. Not with everyone, of course, and just respect all eras in that era, but it's like comparing players from this era to eras of any other era honestly isn't fair and doesn't make sense. And furthermore, just to be clear, it's seeming with every game like I was right about Bronny from the start. I've been talking about this for a while now, as many of you know, so before everyone jumps on the bandwagon, know that I called it early and super early, like Bronny does belong in the NBA.
Bronny James just played the best basketball game he has ever played, coming off his 17-point performance in the NBA last week. When Bronny went back to the G League tonight, he absolutely dominated and finished with nearly 40 points. From the very beginning of this game, Bronny just looked so confident and in control. He finished the first half with 18 points and 2 steals as the Lakers went into the break down 2. Then to start the third quarter, he really caught fire, starting with an and one. Then a few possessions later, he knocked down his first 3 of the night off the dribble. And on the very next possession, Bronny scored again, putting him at 26 points. The Lakers were still down 2 entering the fourth, and James wasn't done. A minute into the fourth, he cashed another triple. And a few possessions later, he knocked down another highly contested 3 to give him a new career high of 32. He then hit his third straight triple. Bronny finished with a team high plus 19 plus minus to go along with his 39 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals in the win.
So you guys better stop calling this guy a Make-A-Wish kid, because he's proving you wrong again and again, and I'm all for it because I've been rooting for him since the jump. Dude could ball. Also, shout out to my all-time favorite player, Steve Nash, for joining LeBron on the next season of his Mind the Game podcast. Shout out to Steve Nash, good job, good stuff, you earned it. Next, I want to get into my take on all the QB moves so far from this offseason. So the other day we heard Russell Wilson went to the Giants. Now I don't feel like this moves the needle that much for the Giants, because as far as I see him, he's always been like more of a system type QB who looks great when he's a great coach with him, but I don't think he could clean up single-handedly a bad organization, especially at this point in his career. It's not a bad stopgap option, and we'll see, maybe he and Malik Neighbors could create some magic and have a resurgence in his career. And they also have Jameis Winston in that QB room now, who's a great or at least solid backup in my opinion. Next up, I'm really not a fan of what the Falcons are doing to Kirk Cousins right now, which is basically holding him hostage and like not allowing him to be released or traded to a team where he can actually start for them. And yes, I get it, he took a big deal, but the first half of last season he was actually living up to that, and was basically a borderline MVP candidate. Then of course he fell off, which was likely due to an injury, but I've always been a fan of Kirk Cousins, especially because of the way he carries himself on and off the field, so I think he deserves better than this. And when he's dealing, he's a top tier QB, who I think deserves a chance to continue to show that even as he gets older. So not a fan of what's going on in Atlanta right now, especially as he turns 37 years old. Next up, I really like Geno Smith going to the Raiders and reuniting with Pete Carroll. Now of course the Raiders have been a dysfunctional team for all these years now, and I still don't see them as a contender, but maybe if they add like another weapon at receiver to join stud tight end Brock Bowers, that could be a really great combination out in Las Vegas. But I would want to see a deep ball threat to join and complement Geno's big arm. And finally, while he hasn't signed there yet, it looks like all signs are pointing to A-Rod, aka Aaron Rodgers, going to the Steelers, especially because how many other options are there left? But I don't get where all this Aaron Rodgers hate is coming from, at least on the field. Now of course, I'm someone who agrees with a lot of his beliefs and what he says, and like I get like not everyone feels the same way, and I also get like a lot of the whole sports media and media in general is paid to promote certain agendas, and he doesn't go along with those. But if we're being totally honest, in an off year coming off an injury, he was still almost 4,000 yards and 28 touchdowns, which would be elite for any other QB. And I get like, yes, the Jets had a bad record, and yes, he doesn't have the same mobility like he had 10 years ago, but every time I watched him last year, or even in the game like that I went to, he was still out there dropping dimes. So he can change the team as long as they have like a good enough defense, as the Steelers typically have. Now to finish off this week's episode, I want to talk about a bit of pop culture when it comes to arguably my favorite TV show of all time, Drake and Josh.
Por favor.
No.
Por favor.
And how Drake and Josh reunited for an interview last week, which was really cool to see.
I had a lot of people reaching out like, oh, don't worry, Drake, we'll never watch the show ever again. Now watching the show, it's so hard to know what you were going through while you were making this. Like, and I'm like, whoa, no. Like, dude, when lights, camera, action, and I walk in and Josh is wearing a dress, like, that was where I actually was comfortable and happy and stoked, and I'm very proud of what we did. And I was watching this show, and I was like, this is really cool. I'm like, I'm like, our timing? That's the magic that like people don't get. It's like, oh, just put two guys together and they'll be funny or whatever. And it was like those. Wow, am I tearing up right now?
I know, I am too. Kind of.
This is. Oh, but it's like that's the kind of things where like whoa, just take it easy, man, right?
Whoa, just take it easy, man.
That's not a joke in the script,
Yeah.
you know? It's like that was just a line, but it's like everyone asked me, can I get a video of you saying, whoa, just take it easy, man? But we just picked up on these little things. It just made us and like gave it that special thing, you know?
It was very special, and you can't recreate it.
So I'm really glad to see that like Drake is able to enjoy the show and take away all the good moments from it, and wants his fans to as well, in spite of all the horrific trauma that he went through. Because hearing about all the trauma is just like so sad to hear that he had to experience and go through that at such a young age. But it seems like he's doing great now, so hopefully he keeps getting better and keeps on building his own comeback story. Now I see a lot of people are calling Drake a child predator himself on social media, as well as, of course, as we know, a victim of some horrific behavior too while he was a child actor. But look, I don't know the details of the whole story when it came to Drake's story, but from what I could gather, I'm pretty sure the girl lied about her age, and I think her friends came out and said like the whole story was a lie about all the allegations that like she accused Drake of. So I'm pretty sure the story was actually mostly fabricated. And while I would never look past any of that behavior or excuse that behavior, it really seems like Drake has been turning a corner in his life and has been moving forward past his traumas and trying to become a better person and trying to put the past behind him, which is something I could totally get behind. So I really hope like these two can continue moving forward with their new friendship. And hey, maybe we'll even see a reboot in the future. I would love that. Anyways, guys, I really hope like you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed all the topics. Let me know any of your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, be sure to drop a comment, leave a like. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding, stay thinking for yourselves. Love you guys. Catch you next time. Peace.